Okay, start na tayo. So topic natin ngayon is layer and selection. So last time kasi puro introduction lang naman na yung ginawa natin or yung tinakil natin. Pero ngayon magle-layers and selection na tayo. Selection tools. Okay? So objectives natin ngayon, sa end nitong lesson na to, kailangan nyo ma-develop yung artistic knowledge nyo, creating and aligning layers, applying different layer styles in every image, how to create image using shape and then text layer, managing image selection, applying effects using magic wand and quick selection tool. Then selecting image using pen tools, scaling, cropping an image, grouping and merging layer. So yun yung mga dapat nyo matutunan dito sa lesson 2 natin. So medyo mahaba yung lesson 2 natin, pero ngayon hindi natin matatapos. Kaya kung hanggang saan lang matapos ko ngayon. So introduction, every Photoshop file contains one or more layers. New files are generally created with a background layer, which contains a color or an image that shows through the transparent areas of subsequent layers. All new layers in an image are transparent until you add text or artwork. Working with layers is analogous to placing portions of a drawing on clear sheet of film, such as those viewed with an overwhelm projector. Individual sheets may be edited, repositioned, and deleted without affecting the other sheets. When the sheets are stacked, the entire composition is visible. Beginners to Photoshop often have a problem with the concept of layers. So ayun, syempre, halos lahat naman ng mga bago dito sa Photoshop, mahihirapan talaga. Lalo na dun sa mga layering natin. Napakahirap talagang mag-layer kasi syempre nakakalito dahil kung maraming image yung ilalagay mo doon sa file mo, eh sigurado maraming layers yung magagawa mo. So what are layers? Layers are simply stack of image, objects, or text. Layers are very useful because they allow us to edit and move individual image components without affecting other elements within the scene. Let's look at the example of a layer document. So ito yung isang example ng layer document. Kung mapapansin nyo, ilang pictures yan. 5 pictures yung pinagsama-sama dyan. So pagka 5 pictures yan, ibig sabihin 5 layers yung mabubuo mo dyan. And then, depende pa kung itong text na nakikita nyo sa PowerPoint ay kung gawa lang siya as text or kung nakalagay na talaga siya sa image. So, kung gawa siya as text sa Photoshop, so ilang layer? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 layers pala yan kasi yung mga logo nakahiwalay siya. So, yan. 9 layers agad yan. Bukod pa yung background mo. So, ibig sabihin, 10 lahat yung total ng layers mo. So, pagka 10, sigurado nakakalito ng dun sa mga layer. So, mas okay kung papangalanan nyo yung mga layer nyo base dun sa picture nila. Okay, next. Layers. Ito pa isang example. So meron tayo ditong layer na text, circle, square, and then yung artwork natin. So kung mapapansin nyo, layered Photoshop documents and the corresponding layers panel. So ayan. So meron tayo ditong image and then katabi niya yung layer panel natin. Siyempre, nasa pinakailalim yung artwork natin. Kumbaga siya yung pinaka-background natin. Then nasa ibabaw niya yung mga other layers natin or other image or text na nasa ini-edit natin. So, ganyan yung pagkakaayos. Kumbaga, kay Photoshop, sa layers, kung sino yung nasa ilalim, siya yung matatabunan. Okay, next. In the image of the layer panel, we can see that there are a total of 5 layers. From the bottom upwards, there is a background layer, an image of the artwork, a layer containing a square, a layer containing a circle, yan, may text layer which includes the word layers. So yan, we can see for the 5 layers, the background layer is completely covered up by the sky layer. The 2 shape layers and the text layer do not entirely cover the artwork layer because they're surrounded by transparency which allows the underlying layers to show through. So, ibig sabihin, ayun nga, pagka nag-create ka ng text or kahit anong shape dyan, syempre automatic yung natitirang space, yung hindi niya ma-occupy na space. Ibig sabihin nun, transparent yun. Magiging transparent siya. 'Di ba? So, kaya hindi niya nako-cover lahat or buong yung buong ano natin, workspace natin dahil transparent yung mga gilid niya. So ayan, kung mapapansin nyo, si artwork, syempre whole siya kasi siya yung nagsilbing parang pinaka-background natin. And then si square, circle, tsaka yung layers, maliit lang siya, kaya hindi niya masyadong natabunan si artwork. So meron tayo ditong layer tips. So unlock the background. You will already know that the background of any photo is locked and you can't do anything much with it until you unlock it. The quickest way to unlock a background layer is from inside the layer palette. Drag the lock icon to its right and drop it in the trash. And the background layer will be automatically converted to a regular layer. So, nangyayari itong ganito kapag ka open kayo ng new file or nag-open kayo ng image using Photoshop. Kumbaga, mapapansin nyo, automatic nakalock na agad siya. Pero meron pang isang way dyan, i-double click nyo lang yung layer and then magiging ano na siya, mawawala na yung lock sign niya, magiging layer 1 na siya. Next. And then one click add layer. To create a new layer above the current layer, click the add new layer icon at the foot of the layer palette. To add new layer directly below the current layer, control or command click on that icon both options. Add layer but without display the layer dialog. So ayan, pagka gusto nyong, for example, yan ginagamit kadalasan sa pagka magpe-paint kayo or magagamit kayo ng brush tool. So, mas okay kung magkikreate kayo ng new layer. Katulad last time, dun sa pinagawa ko sa inyo sa animation natin, yung pinag-create ko kayo ng character nyo using Photoshop. Pagka magte-trace kayo ng image nyo or gagamit kayo ng pen tool, brush tool, new layer tayo ng new layer para hindi tayo nalilito. Okay, next. Merge everything to one layer but keep the layers too. To merge all the current layers in the document to a single layer and at the same time to keep all the layers intact below it, click the topmost layer of the document and press Ctrl-Shift-Alt-E or Command-Option-Shift-E on Mac. In case you are curious, it's called Stamp Visible. So ayun, automatic yan pagka yun yung ginawa nyo. Minsan di ba sa select all pa kayo tsaka kayo mag-merge layer, magra-right click and then merge layer. So ito yung pinakamadali na pwedeng mangyari para mapagsama-sama nyo yung buong layer. For example, nag-create kayo ng different layers na may kulay. Yung kinulayan nyo using brush tool, mga ganyan, nag-pen tool kayo. Then, gusto niyo na silang pagsama-samahin kasi final output na yung gagawin nyo. So, ayan, pwede nyo gamitin yan para mag-merge yung buong layer nyo. The next, select contents on the current layer. So, ayan, to select everything on the current layer, control plus click on the layer thumbnail in the layers palette. So, ayan, pwedeng control plus click para isa-isa nyong ma-select. Kumbaga, pwede kayong mamili lang ng isa-select nyo dyan. Kung gusto nyo 1 and 3 lang, so press control plus click sa 1 and then sa 3. Wait lang, may tumatawag. Okay, next tayo. Copy a layer to another document. So ayan, to copy a layer from another document to another, drag the layer from the layers palette in one document and drop it into the other document. If you hold shift as you drag the layer, will be centered in the middle of the second document. So ganito yan. Di ba dun sa yung name nung mga Photoshop document nyo, pwede nyo siyang i-click drag para lumiit ng ganyan yung mismong workspace nyo or yung mismong buong file nyo. Kasi di ba kay Photoshop, pwede kang mag-open ng maraming document ng sabay-sabay. So yun, i-minimize mo lang sila lahat or liliitan mo lang sila and then makikita mo yon yung layering niyan and then pwede mong i-click, drag, and drop dun sa document na gusto mong paglagyan. Madalas natin itong ginagamit. For example, nag-edit tayo ng banner. So, kailangan natin ng logo dun sa, kailangan natin mag-create ng logo. Siyempre, pag nag-create tayo ng logo, bukod yung file ng logo kaysa dun sa banner. So, after natin mag-edit dun sa logo, i-click and drag lang natin siya papunta dun sa mismong ine-edit natin na banner. Okay? And then, ito pa, quick layer moves. To click, move a layer up the layer stack, press Command plus ano tawag dito sa sign na to. Hindi ko sure, nakalimutan ko yung tawag sa kanya. Pero, yun yung gagamitin natin. And then, move it down, press Command. So, yung alternative naman niya, yung kasalungat niya. So, yan, magkatabi lang siya sa, makikita niyo siya sa gilid ni Enter tsaka ni P button sa keyboard niyo. So, yun, bracket ata ang tawag sa kanya. So, yan yung kailangan natin gamitin. And then, instant delete a layer. To instant delete a layer, click the layer and press delete. So, hindi nyo na kailangan magpunta dun sa trash can icon dun sa ilalim ng Photoshop nyo. Pwede yan, i-click delete nyo lang yung layer. Delete button lang yung kailangan nyo and then i-click nyo siya. Okay? Next. Aligning and moving layers. To move the content of a layer, the Move tool, which is located at the top of the Tools panel, you must then highlight the layer you wish to move by clicking on it in the Layers panel. Once the layer is selected, it will appear blue with a layer selected. You can use the Move to click and drag the layer into a new position. So, ayan, pagka mag-move daw kayo ng layers, so kailangan click drag ang gagawin nyo using Move tool. So pagka hindi kayo naggumamit ng Move tool, hindi kayo makakapag-usad ng mga image nyo. So ayan, circle layer is selected as indicated by the blue highlight. So ayan, ibig sabihin yan, pagka naka-blue na siya, sila na yung nakaselect. Pero last time, tinuro ko rin sa inyo yung auto-select, di ba? So kahit hindi kayo gumamit ng layer sa pagsaselect, i-click nyo lang kung anong image yung gusto nyong i-move. Automatic, ma-highlight siya dyan sa layers and then mamumove nyo yung image na yun. Next, so ito pa rin, multiple layers can be selected by choosing a layer and then holding down the shift key. And clicking on a different layer, all of the layers between the two selected layers will be highlighted in blue. A non-adjacent layer can be selected by Control Command Click. So PC or Mac on the required layers. So clicking on the text layer and shift clicking on the square layer, all layers in between the two selected points have been selected. So ayan nga, example na yan. So nag-click ka kay layer and then diniinan mo yung shift and then nag-click ka kay square, automatic kung sino yung nasa loob nitong dalawa or kung sino yung nasa pagitan nitong dalawa, mase-select din pag shift yung ginamit nyo. And then the difference naman ito sa control, syempre kay control, isa-isa kang magse-select. Hindi madadamay kung gusto mo mang lagtawan si circle, gusto mo lang si layers, tsaka si square. Click mo lang si layers, and then dinan mo yung control, and then click mo si square. So yun. So yun yung difference nila. Okay, next. So with several layers highlighted, multiple layers can be moved simultaneously. However, they will maintain their relative position to one another. If you wish to change the position of the layers so that they are aligned with one another, you can use the alignment tools that are present in the option bar once the move tool is selected. Align and distribute functions are available once the move tool is chosen in the tools panel, and multiple layers are highlighted in the layers panel. So ito yung magiging makikita nyo output pagka selection tool yung ginamit nyo. So ayan, meron different settings para ma-move nyo yung object ng mabilisan. Hindi na yung manual click drag nyo. Pwede dito na simpleng click lang sa isa dito sa icon, automatic magmo-move yung object natin. So ito yun. So meron tayo dito. So align top edges. So ibig sabihin sa top ka mag-align, align vertical center. So sa gitna. Align bottom edges. Align horizontal center, align left edge, align right edge. Distribute top edge, distribute vertical, distribute bottom edge, distribute left edge, distribute horizontal centers, distribute right edge. So ito yung mga yan. So ito yung mga icon na pwede nyong gamitin. Okay, next. So layer interaction. How the individual layer document may interact with each other is editable in several ways. The most basic interaction is opacity. By default, the opacity of a layer is 100%. But this can be changed by moving the slider that appears when you click on the right pointing arrow at the side of the opacity value. So ayan, kung makikita nyo, pwede nga namang labuan or linawan si circle. So pero ang default na opacity talaga niya is 100 nga. So kung gusto mo, kung example, pinagpatong mo si square and then circle. So si circle yung nasa ibabaw, gusto mo makita din si square dun sa mismong ine-edit mo. So solution dyan is babaan mo si opacity ni circle para mag-appear si square dun sa ine-edit mo. So yan. Pwede tayo mag-base sa opacity. Depende pa rin sa inyo kung ano yung magiging output. Pero ito yung isa sa layer interaction na tinatawag natin. So ayan, ito. Layer interaction. Reduce the opacity of a layer. It allows any layers that may be below the altered layer to be partially visible. So ito nga yung sinasabi ko kanina. So ayan, kung makikita nyo, kanina yellow na yellow yan, si circle. Since binabaan natin si opacity ng 30, so lumabo na si circle. And then mas nakita yung white dun sa mismong artwork natin. Okay, next. So sa blend mode naman tayo. A layer can also interact with one another by using blend mode. They allow one layer to affect underlying layers in several different ways. We will be taking a look at the blend modes in more detail in the second book in this series. So yun, tuturo ko sa inyo yung blend mode. Hindi natin siya isa-isahin ngayon. Ang sa pagkakaalam ko is lesson 3 siya ng Photoshop natin ngayon. So after nitong mga dinidiscuss ko sa lesson 3, magagamit natin si blend mode. Pero sa ngayon, meron tayo dito kay blend mode na normal mode, darkening mode, lightening mode, contrast mode, inversion mode, tsaka component mode. So, yan yung different blend modes na pwede nating magamit sa ating mga document or sa image na ine-edit natin. So, naming layers. It can be effortless to lose track of which layer is which if you have a many layer document. It is a good idea to get into the habit of naming your layers as you create them. To rename a layer, simply double-click on the name of the layer in the Layers panel and type in the new name. So yun, syempre importante talaga itong naming layer sa atin, lalo na sa Photoshop kasi pag nag-edit tayo ng malakihan document or maramihan document, kahit mga tarpaulin lang yan, sigurado napakaraming layers yung ilalagay natin dyan. So kaya para hindi tayo malito, kailangan nating pangalanan yung layer natin. Base dun sa kung ano talaga yung ginawa natin sa kanya. For example, background layer natin. So pangalanan natin siya na background or BG, depende pa rin sa inyo kung paano nyo siya ma-identify na siya talaga yung background natin. Okay, next. Text layers. Adding a text to an image is very simple and can be done in two ways. Select the type tool from the tool panel and click in the image where you would like the type to appear. A flashing cursor will appear and you can commence typing. So yan. So pwede tayo mag-add ng text natin, text layer sa mismong image natin. So, yun, pagka magpapangalan tayo or magta-title tayo sa ina-edit natin, syempre, kailangan natin ng text layer. If we to create a column of text for a magazine layout, choose the type tool, but instead, just click and drag to create the text box. So, yun. Kung text box naman yung gagamitin natin sa document natin or text layers natin is marami tayong text na ilalagay, or mahaba yung text natin, syempre, kailangan natin ng text box. So, ang gagawin natin is click and drag daw kung gaano kalaki yung text na gagawin nyo or kung gaano kahaba or gaano karami. So, i-identify nyo siya base dun sa available space nyo. For example, magkikreate kayo ng 3 text box kasi magazine yung ginagawa natin or flyers. So, gagamitan niyo muna ng ruler, hatiin niyo sa 3, and then tsaka kayo mag-click, drag, hanggang ma-occupy yung first space nyo. Click, drag, hanggang second space. Click, drag, para dun sa third na available space natin. And then, makakapag-type na kayo ng text using, ng maraming text using isang text box lang. And then, you will notice that when you type a new type layer appears in the layers panel, so there is no need to manually create a new layer when you wish to add text. So ayun, pagka kay text layer, hindi na natin kailangan mag-add ng new layer kasi automatic pag text layer siya, nadadagdagan dun sa layer panel natin kung ilan man yung text na ginawa niya. Okay, next. So shape layers. When you choose one of the shape tools, the default settings in the associate option bar is to create what is known as a shape layer. In the same manner as the type tool, Shape layers are created automatically when you start to draw with one of the tools. Provide the Create Shape Layer icon is selected in the option bar, the first selected icon from the left. So ayan, kung mapapansin nyo, syempre pagka nag-create kayo ng shape layer, meron tayong different shape layers dito. Meron tayong rectangle, rounded rectangle, ellipse, polygon, line, tsaka custom shape tool. So, ayan, pagka kinlik natin sa shape layer, automatic meron tayong settings sa taas na makikita. So, ito yon. So, meron tayong fill, stroke, tapos itong PT is yung stroke size. And then, meron tayong width, tsaka height. And then, meron din tayong settings dito. Or align edges. May settings icon tayo dito. Pero sa susunod na natin itatakal to kung paano gamitin. And then, so yun. Dito lang kayo kukuha ng settings nyo para dun sa mga shape nyo. So yan, pagka nag-create kayo ng shape layer consists of a solid color layer with a vector mask. A vector mask is like a stencil, only allowing the color to be seen where the shape has been drawn. The color of a shape can be changed at time by double-clicking on the colored thumbnail icon in the layers panel. The image will reflect the currently chosen color. As you double-click the color picker dialog box will appear, allowing you to choose any color you wish. So yun, kung makikita nyo dito sa layer natin, meron tayo ditong color na dun sa mga shape na ginawa natin. So ayan, i-double click nyo lang siya para pagka gusto nyo palitan ng kulay yung shape nyo. Pag dinouble click nyo yan, automatic lalabas si color picker natin. Then, pwede na kayo mamili kung anong kulay yung gusto nyong ipalit dun kay blue. Or kung kay green, or kung kay red. So, yun. Makakapagpalit kayo agad-agad kung papaano or kung anong kulay yung gusto nyo. Next, you can enhance a layer by adding a shadow, stroke, satin sheen, or others special effects from a collection of automated and editable layer style. These styles are easy to apply and they link directly to the layer you specify. Like layer styles can be hidden by clicking their eye icon in the layers panel. Layer styles are non-destructive so that you can edit or remove them at any time. You can apply a copy of the layer style to a different layer by dragging the effect onto the destination layer. You can also open the layer style dialog box by clicking the add layer style button at the bottom of the layers panel and then choosing a layer style such as bevel and emboss from the pop-up menu. Double left click your desired mask or right click and select blending option. So yan, ito yung different layer styles natin. Pero ito is hindi lang sa shape. Pwede rin natin gamitin to sa text or sa kahit anong image na gusto nating ilagay. Pero kadalasan applicable to sa mga shape and text para sa mga special effects. Next, so ito yung example. Nilagyan natin si layer ng stroke na white. So kung makikita nyo kay before, walang stroke na white si layers and then sa after, merong stroke na white. So paano? So ito yan. Example, applying strokes, drop shadow, layer style. So to create, you need to create a text by selecting type tool. And then select text layer mask, put a check on stroke and drop shadow. So yun, i-check nyo lang sila kung sila yung gusto nyong gamitin na effects dito sa text nyo. And then, stroke size, i-click natin siya. Yung mga na-check natin, click natin una-una. For example, first natin is the stroke size. So, may lalabas na settings dyan kay stroke size. So, meron tayo dito ang size, position, blend mode, opacity, fill type, and then color. So, usually, ang ginagalaw lang dito is size, and then color. And then, pero dito sa position kasi na to, pwede kasing inside yung stroke and then outside or outside yung stroke. So, pagka sa position, outside yung pinili nyo automatic sa labas or sa labas mapupunta yung stroke mo, kumbaga, yung text mo is lalapad. And then kung inside naman, syempre walang paglapad na mangyayari. Ninipis lang yung mismong base color nung mismong text mo and then mapapalitan yung base color mo ng stroke. So ganun yung mangyayari kay stroke. Then sa opacity, kung gaano kalinaw or kalabo yung gusto mong stroke nailagay dito. So yan, yung size natin is nilagay natin sa 21 and then color is white. Then sa drop shadow naman, yung opacity is 75. In-adjust natin si distance ng 30 and then size is 5. So yan yung default. Size is 5, 75 opacity and then angle natin is 120. So yan yung default na drop shadow. Binabago lang natin siya sa distance. So yan, 30 yung ginamit natin. And the next natin is grouping layers. Grouping and ungrouping layer mask. You must select the layer you want to group or ungroup by choose layer, group layers, alt drag para kay Windows or option drag para kay Mac OS. Layers to the folder icon and at the bottom of the layer panel, you group the layers. So ayan, pwede natin gawin na lang dyan is select natin lahat ng gusto nating ipasok sa group na layers. For example, ayan, sinelect natin si CIT, CITE, and then Bustos. Then right-click natin, hanapin natin si group layers. So automatic, magiging ganyan na siya. And then, pagka meron kayong layer na hindi na ipasok dun sa group, pwede nating i-click siya and then drag natin papunta dun sa mismong folder niya. For example, itong si Circle. Click natin siya and then i-drag natin papunta dun sa group 1 folder and then automatic mapapasok na siya dun sa loob ng layer na yun or ng group na yun. So next natin, merging layers. There are few ways to merge layers in Photoshop, but the simplest is to merge several layers. This process takes your currently selected layers and combines them. Any changes you make to that layer will now affect all of the merged components selected layer you want to merge. Okay, so ayan. For example, ayan, minerge natin silang lahat. So, sinelect natin siya, automatic, naging background na siya. Dun sa before and after natin. So, ganyan si merge layer natin. So, kadalasan yun, sabi ko kanina ginagamit to pagka final output na yung gusto natin gawin. Pwede nyo rin siyang i-ungroup or i-unmerge. Kaya lang, magko-control Z na kayo. Next. So, ito, Magic Wand tool na tayo. So, the Magic Wand tool is located fourth from the top in the tools panel, and it's stuck with the quick selection tool. To access a stock tool, simply click and hold on a particular tool to see the other tools available in that location. Stock tools are indicated by the small black triangle in the bottom right hand corner of the icon. The option bar function associated with the Magic Wand tool play an important role in its functionality. So ito yung important role ni Magic Wand tool. So meron tayo dito tolerance, anti-alias, contiguous, then sample all layers. So sa tolerance, it determines how much of the image is selected when you click on a particular part on your image. For example, yan, a value niya is 32 indicates the 5 darker values. So, 5 darker values. For example, gray, mas malabo kay gray, or mas whiter kay gray. So, ganun, hanggang 5 colors na magkakadikit. So, doon na-indicate kay tolerance yun. Kasi di ba minsan, kung ano na lang yung kakulay niya, yun minsan yung nasa-select kay Magic Wand tool. Pero pwede natin siyang maayos using tolerance. Tayong magsaset kung gaano, kung ilan yung gusto nating value para na ma-select ni Magic Wand tool. So, okay, next natin, anti-alias. It makes selection edges smoother. So, ayan, pagka nakapag-select kayo and then for example, yung background gusto nyo i-delete. So, pwede nyong gamitin si anti-alias para yung edge nung natirang image is mas maayos para kung hindi na kayo magbubura ng edges, di ba? Minsan kasi ganun eh. Minsan may makikita kayong uka-uka dun sa mga image nyo na hindi magandang tingnan, lalo na pag pinrint yung image. Then, contiguous. When this option is selected, only neighboring pixels are selected. When unchecked, all pixels of the chosen tolerance value will be selected. So, dito naman sa contiguous, so kung ano yung mismong kamukha or katabi niyang pixel, yun yung masaselect sa kanya. Then, sample all layers, if chosen, will take all layers into consideration and not just highlighted layer. So, ito yun. Ito yung mga yun. Si tolerance, anti-alias, contiguous, sample all layers. So, dito natin siya makikita ulit sa itaas pagka nakaselect tayo using Magic Wand tool. So, ito yung contiguous selection with a tolerance of 32. So, pagka contiguous selection, paano yan? Diba? Neighboring, when this option is selected, only neighboring pixels are selected. So, ayan. Kumbaga, makikita nyo kung ano lang yung katabi niya, yun lang yung na-select sa kanya. And then, tolerance niya is 32. So, kung ibig sabihin, yung kulay niyan is 5 colors yan. Kahit hindi nyo masyadong kita sa mata, pero si Photoshop na i-identify niya yan. Then, ito naman si non-contiguous selection. The same values are selected in both gradient. So, yan. Kasi, pagka-contiguous, pwede siyang non-contiguous. Kung sino or kahit hindi niya neighbor, pwede niyang ma-select. So, yan. Sinelect niya tong una. Automatic ko, ano yung kakulay niya doon sa pangalawa, na-select din ni Magic Wand tool. So, yan. Okay, next natin. So Magic Wand tool, there are other icons in the Magic Wand option that allows us to make more accurate selection. So ito, itong icon na to is select or create new selection. Pagka select ka ng una, gusto mo ng bagong selection, so create new selection ka. And then next natin is add to an existing selection. So ibig sabihin, pagka-add an existing selection, na-select mo na yung image sa una and then may part ka na hindi ka na-select. So, pwede mong click to add an existing selection. Then, subtract from an existing selection. Ibig sabihin, ibabawas mo siya dun sa existing selection. For example, nag-select ka ng 1x1 picture mo, gusto mong papalitan mo yung background. Kaya lang yung tenga mo nadamay pagka-click mo ng background. So, gamit ka nito, subtract from an existing selection, and then click mo yung tenga mo, and then automatic, hindi na siya masasama dun sa na-crop na file or na-crop na background. Then, select intersection between two sections. So, yung pag-select intersection, usually yan, hindi siya hindi siya magkadikit, kumbaga. So, dalawang part yung pagsaselectan mo. For example, magsaselect ka doon sa pinakaibabaw, magsaselect ka doon sa pinakailalim. So, yun yung kailangan mong gamitin. Select intersection between two selections. Okay, next. In the following example, we will look at making a selective edit to an image. The orange part of the ball was selected with the magic wand tool so that we can change the color of the ball without affect the rest of the image. The ball contains a surprising amount of different tones, so it's very difficult to make an accurate selection. If you keep increasing the tolerance value, you will get to a point where areas outside of the ball start to become selected. We don't want this, so a better solution for an image like this is to become selected, is to keep the tolerance value relatively low. In this example, I use value of 32. So ayan. So ito yung example natin. Isa-select natin si basketball. So ayan. So syempre kung mapapansin nyo, meron siyang iba-ibang kulay at napakarami ng kulay niya. So once the selection is complete, you can go to the image menu, adjustment, hue saturation. The values that I chose to use can be seen in the image. So ayan, pag na-select nyo na yung gusto nyong area na palitan ng kulay dito kay Magic Wand Tool, so pupunta tayo kay image menu, adjustments, hue saturation. So ito na yung next output niya. So, pagka kasi lumabas si hue saturation, ayan, kung sino lang yung nakaselect na part natin dun kay ball, yun lang yung pwede natin palitan ng kulay. So, hue saturation adjustments are only applied to the selected area. So, kumbaga kung sino lang yung na-select natin. So, yan, kay hue saturation, pwede nating palitan ng iba-iba yung kulay. So, depende pa rin sa inyo kung paanong kulay yung gagamitin nyo sa pag-edit nitong ball na to. So, yun. Hanggang dun lang muna tayo kasi marami akong gagawin.
Okay po, sir.